What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. We have an absolute ton of stories to get through today, so please bear with me. We're going to be moving at a pretty quick pace. First things first, Counter-Strike 2 was shadow dropped. Yes, there wasn't any announcements or lead-ups to a release date. It was just shadow dropped. They posted up on their page saying, quote, Counter-Strike 2 is here. Come take a look around. Counter-Strike 2 is the largest technical leap forward in Counter-Strike's history, supporting new features today and updates for years to come, end quote. So, yeah, if you've been looking forward to this game, I know I have. It's available now. We can all dive into it. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to play yet just because, I've been working like crazy, getting stuff ready for this show and everything like that, but I am so excited. I'm going to be sitting down playing this weekend, and hopefully I'll be able to give you guys my thoughts on that by the time that the next episode comes around. Next up, a Devil May Cry Netflix series was announced. So this is looking to be like an anime type of series. It honestly looks really interesting from the very short snippet that we saw. I'm probably going to have to loop it multiple times during this segment because it was very short. It was only like 45 seconds long, but I mean, from the art style that we saw and the music and stuff, like, that looks pretty cool. And while we're talking about that, they also announced a Tomb Raider Netflix series. It's very similar style, animated and stuff like that. And similarly, we don't know a lot of details about it. We saw that it's going to be like animated. The name of the show is Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. And again, there's no release date for either of these yet, so I'll let you guys know as soon as we know more. Next up, Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition was announced. This will be coming October 6th. It comes with the Burning Shores DLC and some other in-game content and add-ons and such, but they also announced that it'll be coming to PC on Steam and Epic Game Store early 2024. No official solid release date yet, but early 2024 we can expect probably the first quarter, like between January to March. So obviously I'll update you guys and let you guys know once we have an official date. Next up, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is coming to Steam. Quote, publisher Square Enix and developer Applebot will release a PC Steam version of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, the company's announced. The PC version is currently in development and will share data with the mobile version. Further information was not announced, end quote. So as soon as we know more, once again, I know I've already said it multiple times in this show, but I'll let you guys know, that's just how these companies are. They announce things, but half the time they don't even give us release dates. Next up, Payday 3 released, and the reviews went live, and the reception is a little mixed online. So it came out on September 21st, it's on Game Pass, and I'm absolutely loving the game. I'm having an absolute blast with it, but, I also have a lot of nostalgia for Payday 2, playing with my friends, grinding out heists, and just, all those good times. So playing this game again, it's taking me back to those days, you know what I mean? But, there's some people kind of talking online. If you want to know more about it, you can go look up reviews. Like, there's some people like the Actman, for example, who put up a video saying, like, Payday 3 is a certified banger, whereas some other players are kind of like, I'm not too sure how I feel about it. Right now, it's sitting at a 69 on Metacritic, according to the critic scores, but the user score is looking a little rough. So again, maybe look at some reviews if you've been considering purchasing the game, or if you have Game Pass, it's also available there. Next up, Persona 3 and 4 are getting physical copies. This coming from Limited Run Games on Twitter. Quote, time never waits. It delivers all equally to the same end. That's right. Persona 3 Portable is coming to Limited Run on September 29th. Check it out on Switch, Xbox, and PS5 physical. Now, this post obviously just covered Persona 3, but they did also say that Persona 4 is going to be coming at some point, so maybe, I assume they're going to be doing another post after Persona 3, or maybe there was something else linked here that I just simply didn't see. But regardless, if you aren't familiar with Limited Run Games, if you do decide to pre-order this, just know it's going to be a while until you receive your copy. They're kind of infamous for that. Regardless, I still think it's pretty cool that these games are actually getting, like, physical copies. Obviously, they had physical copies for their original versions, but not for these new, like, HD re-releases on the modern consoles, so I thought that was pretty cool. Next up, just something I wanted to highlight real quick, a lost Crash vs. Spyro racing game prototype was found. It was for the prototype that they found in particular was for the original Xbox. We can assume it was probably going to go to the GameCube and the PlayStation as well. MVG made a video about it, Modern Vintage Gamer. I highly recommend going to watch that if this even slightly interests you. It's crazy to see what this could have been. It was obviously very early in the prototype stage. The models weren't even in the racing carts yet, but there was like an FMV in this prototype that showed off like a whole intro screen and everything like that, and Crash and Spyro doing their thing. So this is really cool. And one thing, right, because obviously Crash and Spyro have been making a bit of a comeback in the recent years between the new generation finding out about them and playing them with, like, the new remakes of the games like Crash Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and then obviously like Crash Team Racing, hello, got a remake, and then we got like new Crash games. So I wonder, is it possible? Could we ever see something like this actually, like, become a reality? I mean, who knows? They tried to do Crash and Spyro crossover games before, if you remember the ones on the GBA in the past. Some people aren't too hot on those. I personally enjoy them just because I'm a sucker, but, you know, who knows? Who knows? Maybe this could be a thing one day, maybe not. I hope so, though. Regardless, I just thought that this was like a cool piece of history, and I just like highlighting stuff like this, because this is the kind of stuff that interests me. Next up, we have some unfortunate news. Hideki Kamiya is going to be leaving Platinum Games. So, this coming from like a blog post that they put up, quote, "We regret to announce that Hideki Kamiya will be leaving Platinum Games on October 12th, 2023, so literally like 2 weeks from the time I'm recording this. We are truly grateful for his creative ideas, leadership, and contribution to the growth of Platinum Games from our startup to this very day. We believe that he will continue to succeed in his future endeavors as a game creator. We're looking forward to seeing the game industry grow into a better place with him in it. We wish him all the best for the future," end quote. And honestly, I don't have much to add to that. All I can say is Hideki Kamiya, thank you. Like, I love Platinum Games, and a lot of the games that they have put out truly do mean a lot to me and hold a very special place in my heart, and have gotten me through some rough times. So all I can say is thank you, and I wish you nothing but the best. And according to this post, it made it sound like he's staying in the games industry. So furthermore, if he goes on to make another company, if he goes on to, you know, just kind of heads up projects by himself, really interested to see what he ends up doing next. Next up, in a similar vein, Jim Ryan is going to be leaving PlayStation, or retiring from PlayStation. For those of you that don't know, he is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer over at PlayStation. So let me go ahead and read this. Quote, "As you will have seen today in the news, I have announced my retirement after nearly 30 years at Sony Interactive Entertainment. I did not take this decision lightly, and I absolutely love SIE and our community, but of late, I've been finding it increasingly difficult to strike the right balance between having my home in the UK and my job in the United States. As mentioned in the press release, I will continue my role as President and CEO until March 2024. Effective April 1st, 2024, Hiroki Totoki will be appointed interim CEO of SIE while he continues his current role at Sony Group Corporation. I feel humbled at having the opportunity to lead a company delivering products that touch millions of lives. From award-winning games to the incredibly immersive technical achievements delivered with PlayStation 5, I'm immensely proud of what we have achieved and very optimistic for the future of Sony Interactive Entertainment," end quote. So this is kind of interesting because he's literally leaving in the middle of a generation. Normally when you think of somebody leaving a company, especially like a CEO, for example, you do it at either like maybe at the end of a generation, or like, you know, shortly after one begins, just kind of hand it off to the next guy. But he's leaving like right in the middle of it, especially when you consider that this generation is supposed to go on for a bit longer. I mean, then again, maybe that's not too, you know, out of the ordinary. You know, he's leaving at the midway point of the generation, so he controlled the first half, got the PS5 off the ground, got the units out there, try to help with like the marketing stuff behind the scenes, try to help keep the numbers afloat during the pandemic and such. You know, just continuing to push units and all that, and making as many smart business decisions as possible, just because, you know, like every company in the world was really going through during the pandemic. And now that that's all settled, he's probably looking at it like, okay, I did it. I got the PS5 through that first half of the generation, you know, which was really rough with everything that we had just mentioned. And now he's like, okay, for the second half of the generation, I'm going to chill out. I'm going to step back. I'm going to go do my own thing, hand this off to the next guy. And then the rest of the generation kind of just be smooth sailing with all the projects that they already have greenlit and developing behind the scenes and stuff like that. And then this next guy will have the second half of this generation to kind of, you know, learn his place, learn what he needs to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just figure everything out, get comfortable there, and then start out the next generation strong, rather than just, you know, Jim Ryan leaving towards the end of this generation and then, you know, just throwing the next guy to the wolves. You know what I mean? So maybe that's the mindset here. But regardless, Jim Ryan, love him or hate him, it's very divisive topic online, right? Personally, I like Jim Ryan. I understand where he's coming from on a lot of things. You know, business first, numbers, I get it. A lot of people don't agree with it, and that's completely understandable. But regardless, I wish him nothing but the best in whatever he decides to do next. It's also worth noting that we don't know at this time who's going to be actually replacing him as CEO. So once we know more about that, I'll definitely let you guys know, because that is obviously a very important thing, and I'm skeptical, but hopeful, so we'll see what happens. Next up, we finally have an update on the Microsoft Activision deal. So for a while, it was like, man, we were getting too many updates. It was getting to a point of where I literally had to warn you guys at the end of each episode, like, hey, we're about to talk about that stuff, so if you're sick about, you know, of hearing it, you're free to click off at this point, right? But, you know, now it's actually been a while, and I'm, you know, my interest is rekindled. Like, I actually want to hear about this stuff now. And this is actually pretty interesting. So, the CMA has granted preliminary approval for the Microsoft Activision deal. Quote, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, aka the CMA, has today announced that it has granted preliminary approval for Microsoft to purchase Activision Blizzard. The CMA's decision still needs to be consulted with any third parties involved in the process, but for all intents and purposes, the authority is now happy for the deal to go ahead. Quote, while the CMA has identified limited residual concerns with the new deal, Microsoft has put forward remedies which the CMA has provisionally concluded should address those issues. The CMA considers that the restructured deal makes important changes that substantially address the concerns that set out in relation to the original transaction earlier this year, end quote. So there it is. Obviously, this is not a final decision. This is just a preliminary approval. But there was also other mumblings, we'll say, across the industry that there should be an actual official decision coming out soon. Again, it's nothing official, but it's just a lot of mumblings that have been going around in the industry. So within the next month or so, we should have a relatively solid conclusion as to what's going to be going on here. So again, once we know more, I'll let you guys know. At this point, it's been way too long. I'm ready for this deal to wrap up. We all know it's going to go through. Just kind of do one of those where you dust off the hands, dust off the knees, and just let the deal go through and move on. Just a quick and rather important thing that I wanted to highlight here. Sony was hacked. Now, we don't know a lot of details. We barely know any details about this. Basically, there was these hackers, and they claim to have breached all systems. They're holding Sony's files for ransom. They said that they got a hold of over 6,000 files. If it was a system-wide breach like they're saying it was, I think it would be more than 6,000 files, but regardless, they're holding the files for ransom. And we don't know if this actually affects the PlayStation branch or if this just affects, Sony's other branches of entertainment, whatever. Anything besides PlayStation, really. We aren't sure at this point. So that being said, just in case, it might not be a bad idea to maybe take your credit card out of your account, maybe change some passwords. Just, you definitely want to play it safe here. Honestly, I kind of get I'm kind of getting the vibe that maybe these hackers were bluffing. Maybe it actually wasn't a system-wide breach. Maybe it wasn't even tied to PlayStation at all. But regardless, just to be safe, maybe change some passwords, take out credit card info. Again, you want to be safe. You don't want your data to be stolen. Next up, Unity has finally backpedaled on their absolutely horrible new revenue model. So, they put up a post saying, quote, you are what makes Unity great, and we know we need to listen and work hard to earn your trust. We have heard your concerns, and we are making changes in the policy we announced to address them. Our Unity Personal plan will remain free, and there will be no runtime fee for games built on Unity Personal. We will be increasing the cap from 100,000 to 200,000, and we will remove the requirement to use the Made with Unity splash screen. No game with less than $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue will be subject to the fee. For those creators on Unity Pro and Unity Enterprise, we are also making changes based on your feedback. The runtime fee policy will only apply beginning with the next LTS version of Unity shipping in 2024 and beyond. Your games that are currently shipped and the projects you are currently working on will not be included unless you choose to upgrade them to this new version of Unity. We will make sure that you can stay on the terms applicable for the version of Unity editor you are using, as long as you keep using that version. So, round of applause right there. That was one big concern. Okay, what happens to the game that say you're working on a game right now on the current version of Unity that didn't have these revenue models in place. What would happen then? And it seems like before this, it would have been applicable to this new revenue model. But now, finally, thankfully, they have backtracked that. And while there is still some questionable things about the new revenue model, regardless, at least they backpedaled it and made it a bit less extreme. And hey, if you're currently working on games in the Unity engine, then at least you don't have to worry about that. Just do whatever you do. Don't update Unity, at all. Don't upgrade to the new version of it. Don't do any of that. Just stick to whatever version you're on right now, and as long as you do that and release the game like that, none of these new revenue models or systems will apply to you at all. Which that is very good news, I'm sure, for a lot of people out there, and also for me, because I was actually ranting about it a couple episodes ago about how I've been working on some games in the Unity engine and how this was going to throw everything off course. But now I know I can still keep working on those games. I just, I can't update Unity. And then we'll go ahead and finish reading this here. For games that are subject to the runtime fee, we are giving you a choice of either 2.5% revenue share or the calculated amount based on the number of new people engaging with your game each month. Both of these numbers are self-reported from data you already have available. You will always be billed the lesser amount. We want to continue to build the best engine for creators. We truly love this industry, and you are the reason why, end quote. So, needless to say, I'm glad that they backpedaled on this stuff. And, while I'm still concerned about the future of Unity, given how they were willing to go to such extremes. I'm glad that they backpedaled on that. And again, if you're an indie developer and you've been working on Unity, as long as you don't update or upgrade your version of Unity to the new engine, you'll be fine. Next up, we got the October PS Plus Essential Games for you guys. This is actually a pretty good lineup here. We got the Callisto Protocol, Farming Simulator 22, and Weird West. Farming Simulator 22, I did play it a little bit, and honestly, that game, it's a lot of fun, okay? Weird West is one, that game was actually available on Game Pass, which is how I played it initially, and I'm definitely going to be adding it to my library, which I recommend anybody do this. No matter what games are out for PS Plus Essential, I always recommend that you just add it to your library, just in case, you know, if you're already paying for the service, you might as well just add them to your library. But Weird West, that's actually a really underrated game. It's a lot of fun, and then the Callisto Protocol, another one that, you know, so many people dunked on it online and started hating and bandwagoning just because that's what the internet does. It all sucks. But anyway, the Callisto Protocol, it's actually a really great game. Don't listen to what all the bandwagoning losers on the internet say. It's a lot of fun. Too many people go into games with all these crazy expectations. People just need to go into games looking at the games at face value, taking them for what they are, and just, you know, having fun with them rather than just being so critical and just so pessimistic all the time. But anyway, that's a tangent for another day. All of these are great games. I highly recommend any of them. Next up, we also have a new Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack update. This being Kirby and the Amazing Mirror for GBA, which will be available on the 29th, which is actually the same day that this is going up. So if you're seeing this, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, it's available on the GBA app on your Nintendo Switch. This is a great Kirby game. I highly recommend it. And finally, we had Tokyo Game Show happen, and I wanted to go ahead. Well, obviously, we can't recap the entire event with everything that was there, but I at least wanted to, you know, highlight a couple of the things that were there. We're going to specifically focus on Xbox and Capcom. So first up, we got Xbox here. We're just going to run through and talk about everything that was there. First, Octopath Traveler 2 will arrive on Xbox platforms early in 2024. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, and Like a Dragon Ishin will be joining Xbox Game Pass, with the former joining on its day of release, November 9th. Persona 5 Tactica will be released for Xbox PC and Game Pass on November 17, 2023. Persona 3 Reload will release on Xbox PC and Game Pass on February 2nd, 2024. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy is now coming to Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass on September 26th, so by the time you guys are seeing this, it's out. Yuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, the spiritual successor to the beloved Suikoden series, will arrive on Xbox consoles with Xbox Game Pass on April 23rd, 2024. Infinity Trash Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai comes to Xbox and PC on September 28th. Pal World will arrive for Xbox and Windows in 2024. My Lovely Empress will come to Xbox consoles and Windows PC in 2024. Hartel Barcelona comes to Xbox Series X and S in 2024. New Wo Long Fallen Dynasty DLC expansion Conqueror of Jingdong is arriving on September 27th. We also learned that a crossover with Liza P will bring 2 new weapons to Wo Long on September 27th as well. That's kind of cool, seeing 2 Souls-like games crossover, you know what I mean? That got me really excited. And then a new Fallout 76 expansion, Atlantic City, was revealed, which will be coming on December 5th. And last but not least, let's go ahead and recap the Capcom Tokyo Game Showcase, which was a lot shorter, but still had some fun stuff there. First, 9 minutes of Dragon's Dogma 2 gameplay. To say I have a bit of nostalgia for the first Dragon's Dogma would be an understatement, so I'm really excited for this one. This game looks great so far. And they also showed off RE4 DLC, the new Mercenaries update, and the PSVR 2 mode, which will be coming this winter, as well as the game will be coming to Mac and iPad sometime this year. And then they showed off Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy, which got a release date for January 25th, 2024. It will be available on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. They showed off an update for Monster Hunter Now, which will officially arrive in December, adding new monsters and weapons. Exoprimal will release its title Update 3 in January 2024 and is getting a collaboration with Street Fighter and Monster Hunter. Street Fighter is getting new characters and locations. For characters, we'll be getting Ed in winter 2024 and Yuki in the spring, and Aki will be joining the game as previously announced, which she's actually already available in the game at the time of this video going up, so you can go ahead and check her out, play as her. I already tried her out. She's got a pretty solid moveset. She plays pretty good. She'll also be a master in World Tour, and a new location, Tianghong something like that, will be added. I may be half Asian in real life, but man, when it comes to like Asian dialects, I can't. And then they closed with a couple trailers, including a cinematic trailer for Path of the Goddess, an action-adventure game coming to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Xbox Game Pass. So yeah, that was the Capcom Tokyo Game Showcase. Again, there was a lot more that happened at Tokyo Game Showcase, obviously, but if I were to do that, it would basically require like an hour-long video on its own. I just wanted to highlight like Xbox and Capcom, just, you know, some of the stuff. If you guys want like more like a full-on recap, I could make like a video completely dedicated to that. You guys would just have to let me know. But yeah, like I said, just wanted to highlight some of the stuff, because when it comes to like the bigger events sometimes like that, I try to recap everything, but there's like a limit, because at that point, again, you guys would be stuck here for like the next hour if I tried to do that. But anyway, that's all the stories I got for you guys this week. Now I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on everything we talked about? Whether it's Jim Ryan's retiring as PlayStation CEO, which is insane. What do you think about the Xbox Tokyo Game Showcase? Whatever it is, whatever thing, and I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. But anyway, this is Weekly GCap. New episodes go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to catch them as soon as they go live, well then, now you know when to be here. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.